Hello and welcome. I wanted to shoot a quick introduction video to this re-release of the Pizzagate, Epstein Files videos I released in the past. Good information in all these videos. It should help people understand what's going on a little bit. And if you've not heard of any of these topics and you're curious about the Epstein Island, the Pizzagate type information, this should help to really make you aware of what is going on, especially if you want to share this with your friends and family who have no idea what's going on this Epstein Island and what's going on with these Epstein files. Now, I'm sure I'm going to make a new news and current events video talking about Epstein Files Phase 2, but I want to make sure all the information is out there before I do this, and I wanted people to be refamiliarized with some of this information before I release the next video connecting to what's possibly going to be happening with the Phase 2 Epstein files. So I hope everybody enjoys this. This is a good video to kind of refamiliarize yourself with some of this information and understanding that this Epstein stuff is far from over. It doesn't matter how much they tell you just to drop it and move on. That was a long time ago. This is not going to go away. And this is all part of the larger plan of disclosure and the understanding of what these supposed chosen people are involved in. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you share it, pass it around, and here we go. Epstein Island, The Great Awakening, Unit 2 Research, Continued Points of Study. Here's the island, and you can see in the furthest top corner is where the temple complex is located. Little St. James Island, located in the Virgin Islands at 18 degrees 18.01 north by 64 degrees 49.30 west, would come to be known as a sex trafficking and blackmail hotspot of the rich and powerful. The island complex would be used to blackmail celebrities and politicians and would become a worshipping site for satanic rituals. The activities conducted on this island would include child sex, murder, cannibalism, the hunting of men, women, and children, and the cloning of celebrities, along with the harvesting of adrenochrome in the lower levels. The private island would be far from the eyes of the general public and those who were not members of secret societies or the Pizzagate community. Little St. James Island has many neighboring islands, one of which is owned by Joe Biden, 46th President of the United States, another being Oprah Winfrey, and many, many more. Only the super rich can purchase their own islands and massive complexes which hold many levels. Many known high status personalities and business types, as well as politicians, were and are connected to these islands for numerous criminal reasons. Here is the temple, and here is the housing structure where it's always leveled on a hill, and you can see multiple levels of how many feet it goes down beneath the surface until you reach the truly deep underground facilities. The more money a high level pedophile has, the more likely they have their own massive facilities and sex trafficking complexes. Jeffrey Epstein was the owner of a deluxe New York apartment and owned a massive ranch in New Mexico. This island contained a temple to represent a Phoenician bathhouse painted in blue and white stripes. These Phoenician bathhouses were public bathing areas in the ancient worlds where adult men, women, along with children would bathe nude together in public. These patterns of blue and white stripes would be echoed around Hollywood and throughout the entertainment world. Those attending these islands would be noted in the flight logs and in other incriminating ways. Here you can see the Phoenician bathhouse and the temple complex of Epstein Island. The island was mainly used for B, and C list celebrities because the truly high level celebrities would have had their own complexes. Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire investor who doubled as a possible Mossad agent for the Israeli government. His connections would further the argument that those running the world are all connected to Jews in some way. Everything connects back to the origin point when the clues are analyzed and interpreted accurately. If the Israeli government was behind the sex trafficking and blackmailing of politicians worldwide, as well as actors from Hollywood, this would be hard evidence connecting the Jews to the torture and adrenochrome sale on the black market. Those who knew the truth would send unknowing celebrities and politicians to the island to perform sex acts with children and be taped or photographed to obtain blackmail, which could be used to control them. This would also weaken the world and push the New World Order agenda forward. The island is a strategic satanic ritual location where ritual sacrifice and rape would occur. This would also make the connection between Jews and Satan and those worshiping the 369 system. The the blackmail, it was almost like an initiation ritual. If they knew you were blackmailed and you were videotaped doing things that could not be explained, you would then be entered into the club and have access to the Pizzagate stuff, drugs, whatever it would be, as long as they knew they could control you and that you wouldn't speak out about it. Epstein was rumored to be working for the Israeli Mossad, which is like an Israeli CIA. Everything connects back to Operation Paperclip. Everything connects back to the National Zionists, and everything comes back to the Jews or the Khazarians or the Zionists or whatever you want to call them. If it was discovered that Israel and the Jews were behind sex trafficking and the harvesting of adrenochrome, it would hard to discount them as enemies of humanity. And this isn't an anti Semitic thing, it's an anti human thing. These people are feeding off of humans, children, and drinking blood like vampires. Anyone who was doing this kind of stuff, if you could claim a certain religious title and then be exempt from persecution because of anti Semitism, you would claim whatever you would claim. It doesn't matter if it's Jews or a made up thing. This is how they get around these things is by calling you a name and then no one looks further into it. Here you see the man and the island complex. It is one of my theories that possibly both of these individuals were fabricated using CGI, push the disclosure of the inner workings of Hollywood and the world of child exploitation and the adrenochrome market. If there is a military group working to stop the controllers of our realm, invented personalities would become a weapon used against those to work against mankind and to maintain control. Just a theory, but there's always the pictures of these people are always a little off. Maybe they started out as real people, they were captured, and masks or CGI was then used to continue this operation as like an undercover sting. Just the theory, but something is off with these two and the disclosure around these two people. No other people have been disclosed, other than now we're just hearing about P. Diddy and how he was like a Epstein of the rap world. So that's also something that more is coming out as we progress further into this awakening process. Here you see Obama on the famous island near the temple. This is where he bought his two kids, and with help from Justice John Roberts, was the one who would push these adoption papers in, and this is how you would get your adopted kid with your ugly tranny wife. Here's Kamala Harris with Ghislaine Maxwell at these parties. She's always around all these people at these parties and is a figure in most Hollywood circles because all of these Hollywood people are controlled. Along with Jeffrey Epstein was his partner and number two, Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite and the madam of the high level sex trafficker and pedophile. The madam is like the older prostitute in the brothel that keeps the younger prostitutes in line. Maxwell is the daughter of Robert Maxwell, a publishing tycoon and rumored spy of the Nazis during World War II. This would connect the Maxwell family to the Nazis or the National Zionist Party of World War II, which would create the Israeli government and Israel itself in 1947 and 1948. Delane would teach the young girls the trade of prostitution to procure the desired blackmail that was needed. These young girls and boys would use the cover story of being connected to modeling or shaping of young children into child stars. This practice has been going on for over 70 plus years and would aid many things that we take for granted today, like Disney child stars and the MK Ultra mind control programming. I could do a completely separate video, and I probably will, on the whole connection between the Nazis and Disney, because Disney is really an evil, disgusting place when you figure out what's behind the curtain of Disney and its creation back in the 50s. Here's the Epstein Island topography. The elevation is 60 to 70 feet, end-to-end tunnels, which connects to a massive underground facility, submarine access, and into the lower levels where non-human entities would openly be walking around. And this is another reason why no one can say anything about what goes on in these lower levels. We have yet to see pictures of these lower levels. We have no evidence of what is the inner complex looks like of this Epstein Island facility, because one secret would get rid of all the secrets. And if you knew that speaking about lizard people or creatures in these lower levels, you would instantly be compromised and removed. The facility itself is a multi level complex that leads into a deep underground facility. When underground and the deeper into the island you progress, the more evil and dark the activities become. The lower levels are where the adrenochrome is harvested and the cloning and genetic experimentations are conducted, and the darkest of the rituals are performed. The underground complex may also lead to a maglev tram system or the magneto-leviton transportation system, which may connect to other island complexes as well as other underground complexes and facilities. There is a submarine docking area where the high level guests would enter and exit completely out of sight, just in case they're being monitored, or possibly a lot of these things might connect to other lands on the other side of the ice wall, where dead celebrities and stuff, where they go, can go to this island and participate in these dark rituals. These can also be the super wealthy people who do not want their presence recorded or be known in any way. They enter by submarine, they enter by these high speed underground train systems, and everything connects when you understand all the pieces and put them together. Here is a still shot of the security camera footage of Epstein Island. You can see in channel 7, channel 8, channel 12. Thought there was one more. On channel 11, there are staircases that all go down. So that's one, two, three, 4 levels of stairs going down, and the staircase is easily 20 feet of stairs. So you're going into this mountain structure deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's all furnished down there. It's all built out. And then you get into the dungeon part of the island where these darkness rituals are conducted. The lowest levels of Epstein Island may house certain types of extraterrestrials, including many types of reptilians and greys, which cannot be documented or seen by the celebrity island goers unless they are members of selective secret societies or groups. This comes into like the Eyes Wide Shut groups and the Stanley Kubrick movie where they deleted out the 20 minutes of footage which would show these kind of practices when the Tom Cruise character is walking through the house and documenting the different kinds of rituals and sex magic they're performing. Uh, Eventually, I'd like to do a whole video on Stanley Kubrick movies on how they're all connected, and I have really found a lot of interesting thing that connects all the movies to the black goo and the controllers themselves, but that's for another video. This would include those who are high level Satanists and those who conduct rituals to communicate with the black goo substance. Those who attempt to extract the black goo from the ore can be used to further the agendas of the New World Order, similar to the operations at the Wilhelmsburg Castle used by the Nazis in World War II. The Nazi SS headquarters was the Wilhelmsburg Castle and the black goo. It is an important part of why these cultists need to use children and sacrifice in their rituals because that's what the black goo communicates the best with. The purest energy, you could say. Here's another outline of the Epstein Island. You can see the temple at the top. You can see the pedo rape dungeons, the occult meeting areas, the submarine bay, the black projects where these ET creatures from other lands would come and dock their ships into these, hangar things, black projects, tram tunnels, the tunnel networking hubs, and in the lowest, deep part of the island, it says ancient evil object of worship. This is somehow connected to the black goo, where they would drip or pour adrenochrome blood, child blood, and evil energy, and it would interact with this object, and then the black goo could then inhabit a person or could psychically connect with them, giving them the answers they were looking for. Now, this could be stock trading tips or future futuristic kind of visions or something because of how this black goo works with multiple dimensions at once. Here are other celebrities and islands located nearby. Leonardo DiCaprio has an island, Johnny Depp. There's Richard Branson. There's David Copperfield has an island. I'm not sure who the guy is in the bottom picture, but all these islands connecting all have different facilities and stuff. There are 12 to, 10 to 12 islands, maybe even more. Oprah has the island, Johnny Depp, what was I thinking, Joe Biden. All these people have these islands and they all have different customers and they all make different types of adrenochrome with different types of children. It is a massive network and a massive problem. Here you can see the symbol for Nickelodeon matches the island almost exactly. They've been hiding this right out in the open for many years. They never thought they would be caught. They never thought their system would be put in jeopardy. And now you see it everywhere. They just had a documentary, I don't know what it's called, about Nickelodeon and the darkness and child sex trafficking going on with Nickelodeon and the people around child stars. This has been going on since Hollywood was established. These Shirley Temple and stuff. It's really disgusting when you look back at what they pushed in front of people's faces and normalized back in the day. Now we all see it and we sit back and wonder, how did these baby boomers miss this stuff? And, you look at celebrities of the time back then and Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis, all these people are dating young teen, 12, 13, 14-year olds. Really disgusting this was allowed to pass back in the day. Now we see it as a big issue. But if you look back to the 50s and 60s, this was normal. This is 100% normalized. And almost like if you wanted to get into the club of raising higher and higher, they would marry you to a young child bride because child brides and stuff is all 100% legal and justified in the Talmudic Jewish religions, the Muslim religion, anything that's not Christianity, child brides, child sex, all this stuff is okayed. And this is how this was allowed to pass for so long because the Jews run Hollywood, the Satanists run Hollywood, whatever you want to call them, whatever they call themselves. These people, it's the opposite force of Christ, the love and hatred of Christ, of love and hatred fighting against each other. There's the Jesus love energy and the hatred of the satanic energy pushing together like the yin and the yang, and that is what's going on within our realm. Here you can see the symbol for Disney, and it looks very familiar when you understand the symbolism that they push right out in front of you. There's the doorway and the temple doorway. And Disney is the blue and white colors of Disney and the castle. It's all connected. Everything connects. It's also rumored that Disney had Disney cruise lines that would make stops at Epstein Island for snorkeling or whatever, but we know what's going on now more and more and more. Here you see the famous gift of from They Live, where you put the glasses on, you see the island, you take the glasses off, you see the Disney. It's all connected. There is a lot with Disney. I'm going to make another part 2 video about Disney. I have found a lot of stuff no one's found yet. Very weird and disgusting stuff. Here, this is from the It's a Small World ride at Walt Disney World, and you can see the boy lover symbolism painted throughout the complex. Now, it's rumored that Disney was used in the underground levels of Disney as an MK Ultra programming site where they would dose the young child stars or victims of sex trafficking with LSD and other kinds of psychotropic drugs and then play these Disney movies, and that would fracture a person's mind where they can then be programmed into sex trafficking, sex kitten mind programming, Manchurian candidate stuff, all this different stuff. All of Hollywood is ran by these people, and it's been going on for a really long time. Here's Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell being personally blessed by the Pope. We know the Pope is wearing a little hat, and who are the people who wear the little hats? Now, Epstein's Jewish and Maxwell's Jewish, but they're getting blessed by this Pope. If you put two and two together, you can figure out that the Vatican has nothing to do with Christianity, and these popes have nothing to do with Christ. Here's Ghislaine Maxwell at Disney in 1985. This operation of these sex traffic, all this stuff has been going on forever and ever and ever. And procuring child stars, sex trafficking. We can all see what's happened with these sex trafficking. Now, here's Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, with Mother Teresa. And it's very funny how Mother Teresa is in the news, in the mainstream, this holy person doing all this good work. But when you step back and look at it, she was one of the biggest sex traffickers around, procuring children in foreign countries and third worlds for these elites to harvest. This has been going on a long time. Then you see here's Mother Teresa with the stripes, with the coloring of Israel. It all connects to the same things over and over and over again. The same people keep popping up. It is not a coincidence. Here's Dr. Fauci with Mother Teresa. Now, a lot of people rumored that she's the son, he is the son of her or him. It could be a tranny sex introvert. The Jews love switching the sexes. God gave you the sex of man or woman, and they do the opposite with their science. It's a satanic inversion of sexes and stuff. And it's just, it's not a coincidence that these same people keep popping up over and over and over again. And it was rumored that Fauci was also behind AIDS and the AIDS epidemic of the 80s, where billions of people, over a billion people, were killed from AIDS. In Africa and in the gay fag community and all this stuff, the gays, you can thank this guy, Dr. Fauci, who's the number one guy for COVID still. These people have been around for years and years and years, and they all protect one another. They're all in on the same plan. I mean, you can see that look Trump's giving him. Very interesting. Here's Will Smith's wedding. You can see the island decorations in the background. You can see Ellen's set with the island decorations in the background. All these people knew about the island. They all knew about the adrenochrome and the sex trafficking. They all take the adrenochrome, and it is one big system that keeps going on and on and on. Here's Elon Musk with Ghislaine Maxwell, and there's another picture of Elon Musk at one of these eyes wide shut masquerade parties. These people are all connected. If you think Elon Musk is a good guy, think again. He's one of these people that pushes space and rockets and electric cars and all this fucking bullshit with the fake Starlink internet. I mean, all this stuff is all connected. The flat Earth, the outside lands, everything connects to the National Zionists and these Israeli Jews. It all connects when you know the missing pieces. Here's Trump with Epstein. I mean, a picture doesn't mean anything. You could take a picture with somebody, but it's just odd that the same people are all in the same circles that we know. Now, is there an operation being done to expose this? I would say yes, because why do we know about it? If you don't think they can scrub this stuff from the internet and hide it, then you're delusional. They own every news channel, they own all the platforms, and yet this stuff is coming out more and more and more and more. And it does seem that there is some type of operation that a lot of these politicians and celebrities are wearing masks. They all have these secret boots on, these like broken foot boots. They all are taking pictures with these boots. They all have ankle monitors at some point. They're all being guarded by US Marshals. So something is going on. And then we have the introduction of the BRICS system, which is the asset backed gold backed currency, which is removing the Federal Reserve currency in the US dollar. All of this sex trafficking and adrenochrome use, it's all purchased with US dollars. And I mean, all these people who went to this island are compromised. They can't say anything. They can't do anything. They all know they've been to the island. They've been blackmailed. They've went several times, and it is not coincidence. You can see Joe Biden's name on this list. You can see Obama's name on this list. You can see all these people who went to this island. They all magically also hate Trump. They think Trump's the worst. They got to get rid of Trump. They're all moving out of the country if Trump's elected. That's a little weird. Like, why would they all be so anti-Trump if Trump's in the club? Like, why would they want to disclose how bad they are? Do they just not want to hide it anymore? And they're moving the entire Western world into this satanic world of pedophiles and sex trafficking and trannies and stuff. And the number one way that none of these people would ever be persecuted or arrested is to legalize all crime. So then pedophilia was no longer illegal, and the black male no longer has any pull against the person if all the activities become legal. Something to think about. I don't know. Another purpose of these secret complexes is the genetic experimentation and cloning that is conducted in the deeper levels. This is the main reason why so many of these celebrities look so similar, and a reason they never seem to age the same way as normal men and women. When this aspect is understood, the activities of Epstein Island are more plausible. The use of fertile women and the harvesting of genetic material, like a woman's eggs for reproduction, can be used to grow artificial humans or duplicates. So, if you if they want to welcome you into this club, and you want to date a certain celebrity, they can clone someone who looks very similar like the celebrity, and then you can have one of your fake arranged celebrity marriages. This goes both ways with men and women and gays and all this disgusting stuff these people are associated with. This creates a breeding program that the elites use to make multiple copies of themselves for genetic experimentation and the new use for forms of non man creations or the creation of new species or creatures. This could even be hybridized human and animal combinations where not natural creations of God are created. Everything practiced or performed in this island is against God and to the benefit of Satan and his followers. The next part of this video series will be human cloning and genetic experimentation and the connections between all this stuff. But it's very interesting how more and more of this is coming out and how people haven't seen it before. But this is the Great Awakening. It's like a 100 monkey theory type thing where when a certain number of people understand, it just becomes normalized. Here you can see after the Epstein thing, the temple's been boarded up. The dome off the top has been removed. The pedophile bird statues have been removed, showing that maybe this is out of business and you should think twice about doing this sort of stuff. I don't know if everyone has seen the Sound of Freedom movie, but in the Sound of Freedom, they create an artificial island with cameras everywhere, track people, and basically they're running like a sting operation to arrest them. It is my theory that this is what Epstein Island was. It was an island that was opened up. All these people go to the island, they start doing this, and then they're arrested. They're either tried, convicted, and killed, or they're cloned and reproduced, and then the clones go back out into the world and tell people to all go to the island. It's a giant sting operation. We all know about this Epstein Island, but we haven't heard about what's going on the other neighboring islands, and we know how widespread this is. So this has been out a while, and now we're finding out that Puff Daddy or Sean Diddy Combs or whatever you want to call him or whatever he calls himself, his house was completely decked out with cameras, and where is all the footage of all these people? The only reason I think they wouldn't be releasing some of this stuff is because it really is the darkest of dark, Hillary Clinton snuff tape sort of stuff, and it's going to take a while for the public perception to get to a point where they can release this and show people how fooled they were.
Hello again and welcome. It is February 27th, 2025. I've held off a few extra days to record this video on the current date of the releasing of the Epstein Files. Now they're going to keep teasing this and teasing it and teasing it, and then they're going to start releasing the names. Now, when the names come out, they're going to then give extra time so that people who are mentioned can come up with some kind of a press release in order to bring plausible deniability to the situation. Now, some people flew on the plane, and some people met him a few times and stayed at his apartment, and it was just everything was innocent. Nothing was going on untoward or anything like that. But when you understand this Epstein Island facility was not a vacation resort, okay, this wasn't Sandals Resort in wherever the fuck Sandals resorts are, Cabo or wherever. This was a very, there's one small house complex with like two rooms in it that you could stay the night. But these celebrities who went there, they didn't have the best racquetball. They didn't have best tennis courts because they had one thing that other places did not have. And it is the facilities to rape and torture children. Now, if you've seen the movie Hostel, which was like a horror movie about these elites pay this money to torture and kill people and rape them in this wherever they were doing it. I haven't seen the movie in a while, but the idea of that is what they're paying $4 million for, or $2 million, or however much money it is. And the Disney cruises would dock outside of these islands and send people ashore for scuba diving, and the greatest scuba experience you've seen when you also take into account the fact of the Ghislaine Maxwell had a scuba license and a submarine license and a helicopter license. Then you can get into the connection of what was Disney facility about, who started Disney. Well, it comes from Operation Paperclip. And it's a version of our reality, okay? Making everybody think it's a great place to take your kids on vacation. And then when one of your three kids goes missing, they'll say, hey, you don't know, no idea where these people, where your kid went. And now people have found that there is secret doorways and passages within the restrooms of Disney. There is the Club 33, which connects to you know who, the Freemasons again. And most likely they would kidnap these children in the Disney parks, secretly put them onto this cruise ship, deliver them to the Epstein Island or one of their other many island locations, and then submarine them to the island for rape and torture and blackmail and stuff. So as they release these names, it is 11 11:24 a.m. on 227, and they're releasing the names as we speak. But don't get your hopes up too high here. This is all part of the phase one initiative or plan to slowly bring this information out. Now, when you start to see what's happening with them cutting the government by 60, 70%, and shutting down these branches of the government, I read where they are shutting down 120 IRS offices. Now, you're shutting down 120 IRS offices, and tax season is less than a month away, or a month away. Does that make any sense? Well, they're going to get rid of all this stuff, but when you realize that the people who were blackmailed were the government, were the senators and the representatives and the lawmakers and stuff, you're cutting all this government away in order to shut it down because you're not doing anything but laundering money. So when they release these Epstein names, understand that names are not arrests. When they start arresting people, the government is going to be completely vacant. And this is why they have to have their key people in. I don't know if anybody saw my video last week on the maritime admiralty and banking law, but in that video, I covered the senior executive services, which is said to be the keystone of this Mossad CIA New World Order plan. Now, if you look at this senior executive services, and you understand that they are the bridge between the other 17 the government agencies, and then you look at Trump's putting all these people in to bypass this senior executive services. Now, whether they're doing it for Israel, it doesn't really matter because they have to keep playing this game until the people demand that these Jews be removed. Israelis, the synagogue of Satan. Now, are they playing these people? I think someone's getting played. And this is all part of this larger deception to where it's a lot easier to think that science is real and God is not playing a part in this plan when you understand the blood flood aspect to your history. And the power of God is indeed very much alive and could be pulling a lot of the strings here. So, are they going to make arrests? Now, if you're familiar with this type of information, Pizzagate and things like that, you'll know of a guy who worked for the FBI named Ted Gunderson. Now, this Ted Gunderson investigated satanic cults and all this child blackmail and stuff back in the 90s. Had 100% proof that people in Congress, senators, all these people are raping young girls and boys and being blackmailed. And they all knew about this. They all know about it because they're all involved in it. So anytime someone starts looking, they put out their, you know, disinformation people to discredit them or to distract them. But at the same time, this Ted Gunderson character was allowed to do all this research, pull all these names together, disclose all these names, and then no arrests ever came. And it implemented all of the players we see today, the royal family, the Rothschilds, the you know, James Alefantis and all these Rockefeller Rothschild people who are all been doing this since Operation Paperclip started. Are they going to arrest anybody? Well, the argument against arresting them is if you start arresting all of these people, the economy is going to collapse, the grid's going to come down, it's going to be complete mayhem because these people are going to take everyone with them that they can. And Bitcoin keeps dropping, and they're blaming Trump for the Bitcoin dropping. Nick Fuentes is mad the Bitcoin is dropping and all this shit. Well, you shouldn't have any money in Bitcoin when you understand what Bitcoin is. Okay. The United States Federal Reserve dollar is slavery dollar. Okay, it's backed by the American workers' time and effort. It's not backed by assets or gold anymore. And there's another part of this that connects to the gold is gone at full knots. And if you see this escalating and escalating and escalating, you're going to understand that when these arrests come, the economy is going to be gone. Okay. The banks will all collapse because everybody who runs the banks is an Epstein person. The Bitcoin aspect. Who do you think created Bitcoin? Well, it was most likely the CIA and the Israeli Mossad, probably also aided by MI6, MI5, and all these NATO intelligence operatives and things like that. So when people start figuring out, the more arrests start coming, the price will just start dropping until it goes to zero. The old billionaire guy said, it will go to fucking zero because it is how you launder money from sex trafficking and all of this Epstein stuff from leaving the border open for these unaccompanied minors and all this stuff. It all connects when you understand that the same Jewish people who invented our Federal Reserve Bank are the same Jewish people who created Bitcoin, NFTs, and all of this bullshit to launder money. So, word to the wise, if you have any kind of Bitcoin or digital currency, I would dump that shit immediately. Now, most likely these arrests are not going to come just yet. They're going to put the names out. They're going to get everybody familiar with the names. They want everyone to come out with their cover story. And then, hey, here's the video evidence of you being on the island. There is nothing on the island. It is not a five-star resort. It is an underground facility cloning laboratory in order for you to do your disgusting wants and desires that you have. And this isn't just sleeping with porn star people or something to get your sexual desires met. No, it is dark, disgusting activities that these people are involved in. Torturing people, raping them, cannibalism, bestiality, whatever the worst things you can do, this is what they do there. And then they videotape you, and that's part of the deal. They're not hiding that they were videotaped. It's open that their cameras are running, and the more you do, the higher your position in this satanic new world order will be. This is the whole conception of these Israelis are these chosen people, and everything they do is the most evil shit that you could ever think of. Completely leveling Gaza and killing off all these people, shooting and murdering pregnant women so that you kill two Palestinian terrorists. Two Hamas terrorists is better than one, and they all their mouths water when they talk about murdering innocent women and children and civilians. So we're up against the most evil shit that has ever taken place in human history. Other evil things would be like the Aztecs torturing children and sacrificing people and cutting their hearts out and shit. That's what they're doing on Epstein Island. They are delivering blood and human sacrifice to their demonic masters in order to obtain the secrets of this world, the wealth of this world, and ways of maintaining their 1% status over the general public. And then you have people who have never heard of any of this. They can tell you everybody who plays on the fucking Lakers or the whatever fucking baseball team they're into. They know all of it. They know the Kardashians. They know every gay black rapper that who's ever sang some faggot song with Puff Daddy or R. Kelly or whatever. And people don't know anything about Pizzagate. They don't know about Epstein Island. They don't know about the Bohemian Grove. They don't know about the human hunting parties. Okay, they don't know about how you get these red shoes. And anyone with these red shoes connects to human hunting parties because they would release all these children, they would capture them, rape them, sodomize them, and then they would kill them and make shoes and bags and stuff out of the dead children that they have murdered. That's what's going on. Now, how do you break this to the general public that fucking Tom Hanks is a serial pedophile, murderer, cannibal person, and they're all eating children on their satanic inverted holidays and occult rituals where they're eating aborted babies and all this demonic shit that they're doing? We've been talking about this and telling people about this for years and years and years, and it's just so mind blowing to the general public NPC people. There's no way to get out of this system. Okay. And this is how you tell the people over and over and over that all this Satanism and being Jewish and all this stuff is connected. They don't do anything about it. They don't acknowledge it, and then you consent to their actions. Okay, if I tell you I'm going to go rob the bank, and then you don't, or I'm going to go rob your house this weekend, and then your house gets robbed, and I say, hey man, I don't know anything about it. Well, you technically told them you were going to rob the house, and they didn't do anything to protect their stuff. And in this satanic mindset, you consented to having your house robbed. It's the same kind of stuff. They'll joke around and say, ha ha ha, yeah, Epstein, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You don't do anything about it. You don't look into it. If somebody told me these people in my town are raping and murdering children, then I go, no, they're not doing that. My grandpa was Mason. My aunt's husband's Jewish. They don't rape children. And then later you find out, well, yeah, they were arrested for trying to have sex with a 13-year-old, as all of these people do. Okay, the internet is filled with pedophile stoppers and people saying that they're 13 in order to meet some guy for sex, and some fucking Democrat shows up. Okay, some basement troll showed up to have sex with these children. It's every day, hundreds and hundreds of people. Why isn't the police department doing this? Well, they're the ones making the money off of it. They run the child sex brothels if they're connected to masonry, which we know a lot of the law enforcement people are connected to masonry. So how is this gonna unfold? Well, I predict that they're going to do this in phases. Phase one will be the Epstein flight logs, which who gives a fuck about the flight logs? How many people went to this island? Where's the footage of these people on this island? And what is going on in the under levels of this island? The only thing that makes sense is it's something way worse than sex with children, because sex with children is everywhere. As we've said, you look on the internet, it's constantly people meeting people for sex and getting caught. If you follow like Alex Rosen on Twitter, always catching and busting these people every day. I subscribe to like 10 different accounts on Twitter that are all just catching these people left and right. When are we going to kill these people and stop this cycle from continuing? Because that's how the pedophiles reproduce. They rape and molest children, and then all these children who were raped and molested turn out to be homosexuals. They're all gay, and then they themselves are also pedophiles. And the cycle just keeps going and going and going, and it's advancing and accelerating at a crazy pace. And until you start hanging people in the center of town for molesting and sodomizing an infant, a child, and stuff, kill these fucking people. Kill these people as a warning to others that, hey, as a civilized society, we don't do this. We do not do this, and if you do this and are caught, we kill you. Again, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish. It doesn't matter if you're so persecuted for practicing your Jewish religion. It's in my Jewish book that I can do all this. Fuck you. You're not getting away with it. And we need to exterminate anyone who has these beliefs, whether they're Muslims, whether they're Jews, whether they're the fake Christians who are molesting the choir boys or whatever. Christianity at the top is some of the most crooked shit ever. And how do you expose these people? When do the average general public people start to awaken to how evil these Kardashians are and all this shit? We need to really drive this home when this information starts coming out. And they're going to do false flag attacks. They're going to do all types of celebrity deaths. They just said Gene Hackman died with his wife and dogs or some shit. So now they have this celebrity that died, and they can then focus on that with the news cycle and avoid this Epstein stuff. But we know that the mainstream media is owned by Jews. We know that Jews are responsible for Epstein Island. It was a CIA Mossad operation to blackmail all these people. So anything connected to these Jewish spies, which pretty much every Jew is a Jewish spy. They all serve their Israel. They all serve the greater good of Jews, and they are the synagogue or state. It is satanic, evil, Satan worship. They do not like Christians because Christians is the true opposition force to Satan. It's not being a Muslim, being a Buddhist, being a whoever the fuck you are. It's Christian white men and Christians in general who will step up and stop this. And once it's shown that they release all these names, they release all these crimes, and then no one is ever arrested, or the names they do lead will be these celebrities who kill themselves, and it's a way of washing their hands and saying, "Hey, we did our best. It's just too bad fix. We can't fix it." It's the same with the United States government. It's so corrupt, we can't fix it. It has to be shut down. 10 days of darkness, 3 days of communication blackout, completely redo everything, fix the economy, switch to the gold-backed currency, ban usury, ban interest, ban all debt, and clean house. Now, if you're seeing how much waste this government is a part of, and then you understand that you've been working your entire life paying a third of the money you would have made to this government so they can create underground sex trafficking bunkers and traffic drugs for the CIA and stuff, $5,000 checks aren't going to cover that. Now, if you think my mom is 72, 71, and a third of your earnings have been used to steal all this money and shit. The government owes the boomer people billions of dollars, $6 to $12 million easy in payments due to you stole all of our money, you stole our gold, and that is what this national debt is. Okay, we didn't have a national debt before you started this U.S. corporation and then took our gold to fight your Jewish wars, took our silver to fight your other Jewish wars. And now there's so much inflation, not egg $9.99 a dozen. This needs to be drastically changed, and $5,000 isn't going to even put a dent in this. Now, I'll take the 5 grand. I could use 5 grand. Let's get the 5 grand first, and then we will make further demands. I don't like these people who all of a sudden these bots say, I don't want any money. I want the IRS shut down. Well, dude, we have to get our money back. We have to get the millions of dollars that is owed to us due to this birth certificate system of your birth certificate is a treasury bond or something, and they trade it for millions and millions of dollars. It is your slave papers, your birth certificate, your social security number is a bank account number. And all these things are this Masonic system that have been set up, and we have been burned into this slavery system. We've got to get out of this system. And the only way to do that is to wake people up. Then we try to wake people up. They suppress your account. They shadow ban you. They push you down here. And then their Republican accounts get access to this Epstein shit. It's more controlled opposition. They run both sides. They run all of these people through advertising. So Stu Peters is at number one advertiser is the Jewish Gold Company. Alex Jones, the number one uh, supplier of your or supporter is Jewish Gold Company and Gold Co. and Gold this and Gold that and vitamins and all this shit. It's money laundering. It's how they make sure you're not going to talk because we're going to get you this station, fill it up with all these employees, and now, well, you don't want to fire your employee. You got to keep going and going and going and get more money in. And they get you 99% of the time. Unless you're a person who's just by yourself in your own home, putting these videos out, putting this information out, you're almost uncorruptible. And this is their game. So if they start giving people who are actually doing this research 5 grand and 10 grand, and now there's a stipend, and now there's a bigger account. Now they owe you $480,000, and then down the line, you owe us millions and millions of dollars. Okay, we are taxed higher than any other country. And I don't know if this is for you, but I live in Northern California. The roads are so fucked up. There are potholes everywhere. There's garbage everywhere. There's, it's just disgusting. The place I grew up is gone. Okay. I've got Mexican neighbors. I've never had rats or anything like that ever. These Mexicans move in, there is garbage and trash. I should take a picture of their fucking house, how disgusting it is. With trailers loads of garbage, and there's rats, and the fucking raccoons get into the garbage trailer, and now there's fucking trash everywhere like you live in the inner city. And they never clean anything up. That's not their job. This used to be Mexico, they'll fucking tell you. And Mexico this and Mexico that. They fucking love it, except they don't want to go back. So, how do we fix this? The culture is damaged. The people are damaged. They're so demoralized. There's no way to get out of the depression of living in this empty society filled with Satanism and Zionist occupation to where they're going to traffic children, they're going to have sex with children. All their celebrities are in on it, and you worship these people who are garbage. These trash fucking people who have been blackmailed hundreds of ways by hundreds of governments and countries, and we can't get out of it. It's too much work to stop this. So, what are we going to do? I guess we got to just play this out because if it's going to show that the government will not arrest and kill these people, why are we paying taxes? So that now they're going to get into well, we're going to get rid of income tax. And then now there's not enough money to go after and kill these people. It's going to fall onto the people to take matters into their own hands, get together with your neighborhood, find anyone and meet everyone. And if somebody's got a creepy kid who's into anime or whatever the fuck weird shit these pedos are into, we have to kill them. We have to kill them and get them out of here. It's not safe to have a family and people when there is violence on children and women and all this stuff. We've got to get rid of it. And maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe the white Christian race will be defeated. I don't know. I've been at this a long time. And right when you think there's going to be this big turnaround, on then reset, and maybe in 2026, we'll finally arrest these people. Let's arrest these people on their deathbed and then say, hey, we got them. Good job. Prince Andrew's been arrested. And like King Charles, who's fucking Dracula, is going to be arrested now. And trillions and trillions of dollars that have been stolen from us. Hey, we don't know where it went. But don't worry, we're going to give you a digital coupon where you can have digital money. And if you say anything anti Semitic, we're going to shut your bank account off because you don't want to be mean to these people who are raping and molesting children. And that's about where we're at for this week. So we're going to watch for these Epstein names. We're going to see how they try to spin it and how they try to cover for the amount of money they have stolen, the trillions and trillions of dollars that have been stolen from the American people, now gone. And where did that money go? We don't know. It's too much work to find it. Are you going to collect the assets that have been stolen from these people and sell them? Well, the government's been cut by 80%. We don't have the manpower anymore. We'll just let them get away with it with another stern warning and a slap on the wrist. And here, guess what? We got a basketball game this weekend. The fucking so and so's are playing the you know who's. And that's the mindset of the people. Okay? Right when one major sporting event is over, you wait a couple of weeks and people are going, hey, are you going to arrest these child pedophiles? All season. Let's watch the fucking baseball game. You've got 8.5 hours to sit and watch a doubleheader. Don't look into anything. Don't watch anybody's conspiracy videos. That's all crazy. Watch Rachel Maddow, and she'll tell you the fucking truth. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's just like, why won't people wake up to this? And we don't know. I don't understand why they don't wake up. They really are NPC lone people. They have no interior thoughts or dialogue. They have nothing in their heads. There's nothing there. They're told to watch X, Y, and Z on TV, and then they do. And their life slips by, and they don't want anything. They have no dreams. They have no ambitions. It's just a void. And their kids are dumb, and their wife is dumb, and their friends are all dumb, and nobody asks any questions about anything. You can tell these people do not think about anything. They don't sit around and ponder things they do not understand and go, geez, I don't understand this. I'm going to look into this and educate myself so I'm not so fucking stupid. When somebody asks you X, Y, and Z, you say, oh, I'm not into politics. Which sports team do you like? What kind of sports do you watch? Sports are for kids, young kids. It's like WWF. It's you watch that with your kids and watch them be in all of this. A grown person should see how this stuff is fucking rigged. Okay? The Undertaker doesn't have magic powers and can turn the lights down. Someone's doing that behind the scenes. Okay? These people who play basketball aren't good at basketball. You're 7 feet fucking tall, and it's not that hard to put a ball in a hole, especially when there's magnets in the balls. And in football, they have magnetic gloves and they catch the ball because it's magnets and shit. It's smoke and mirrors to distract you, to trick you. golf. All this stuff is done with magnets. It's very easy to see that it's magnets. I don't know. It's just like, what's the point? No one watches these videos. You try to get this information out, it goes nowhere. I'm hoping we can change this around. If they do send out money, we're going to try harder than ever. This is going to be like our final push to get this information out and wake people up. And then if it doesn't happen, we all just need to turn off our computers, delete our entire online presence, and go dark. Because things are going to double down in a horrific way if they start getting their anti-Semitism awareness act, where anything you may have said that is slightly offensive, you could do jail time for that. Okay, and then they'll claim that you are a racist, white nationalist person. They'll come in and try to take your guns and take your property, seize your assets because you're a racist. You said bad things about God's chosen people who are not really that holy and not really that godly and don't believe in Jesus Christ and don't believe in any of this stuff and want to commit genocide and murder children and drink blood and all of this stuff that they're doing, which is, we're now seeing it's coming out. They're drinking blood, adrenochrome's real, Pizzagate's real, all this stuff's real. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Well, Pam Bondi is the assistant so and so. She's going to make a Tell's going to get in there. They've been investigating this for 40 years. No one has been arrested. No mass military tribunals and executions have taken place. That's the only way to fix it. The only way to fix it is to get off their Jewish debt money and get back into gold and silver money, which we can then hold our own futures in our own hands. And we're not subject to the whims of these bankers and all these fucking people who have completely ruined our way of life. They stole the old world. They created a fake story. Everyone believes the story. And even if you prove that they lied, we don't want to end it because George Washington was so and so, and they were Masons too, and the astronauts were Freemasons, and they're just a great club. Not doing anything wrong. Well, they are, and we prove it, and no one cares. So I hope we get out of this. I hope we can figure this out very soon. We're going to see what happens with these names. We're going to see what comes out with this Epstein phase one. And we all know it's Israel. Are they going to release it so that the general people will all say that, yep, it's Israel? Are you going to do anything or are you going to let them get away with it? And most likely they don't want to be racist or anti Semitic and they'll just get away with it. We'll see. I hope not. I hope not. We will see.
Pizzagate, The Great Awakening, Unit 2, Research, Continued Points of Study. Pizzagate is a conspiracy theory that is proven factual when fully understood. Discovered from a series of emails between high level politicians, actors, and business people, which contain secretive code words. Mainly connected to certain foods and satanic worship, all connecting to the DNC or the Democratic National Convention. Within the coded emails were references to pizza and pasta, which translate to different types of children who would be delivered for abuse by government and DNC officials. This would lead those in the truth community to question those who govern. High level pedophiles would use these coded email systems to trade in child pornography and the chemical compound known as adrenochrome. Hollywood is also connected to this system of Pizzagate. Here you see a chart connecting to different handkerchief colorings for sexual kinks and fetishes. And on the right side, you can see the translation hot dog means boy, pizza is girl, cheese equals little girl, pasta, little boy, ice cream is male prostitute, walnut, person of color, map is semen, sauce is orgy, and cheese pizza is child pornography. Nothing has changed. Adrenochrome is a habit that has been set in stone. and it always seems to be the same group of people who are involved in these practices. The Pizzagate scandal was centered around Hillary Clinton and her campaign manager, John Podesta. It would slowly be revealed that a snuff film involving a child, Hillary Clinton, and Huma Abedin was being traded around Washington, D.C. as an advertisement for the sale of adrenochrome. The parties involved were the key players in many scandals, which always seemed to connect to the Democratic Party and the Zionist occupied government. This would also include the Clintons, the Obamas, Nancy Pelosi and her family, Joe Biden and his family, along with many other Democrats within the Washington, D.C. area. Understanding that Washington, D.C. is a foreign country under Zionist occupation on U.S. soil can lead those to guess which country it belongs to. Only those who have been or can be compromised are choosing to become leaders within the D.C. establishment. We know this from the Masonic connection and the layout of the city, which happens to be a satanic pentagram. Many Washington, D.C. politicians have dual citizenship with Israel, which is also an extremely high percentage of registered sex offenders. The Jewish Talmud is also very accepting of pedophilia and disgusting satanic behavior. The word Democrat translates to demonic rule. Pizzagate. Dozens of emails mention pizza and handkerchiefs and a coded language used by pedophiles. This is the Comet Ping Pong Pizza in which the scandal was centered around. Ping pong is a sexual act involving three people. I'm going to let you guys read this. You can go through it very quickly, but very disgusting stuff that these people participate in. Here's another picture of the Soros backed DC uh, associates and Hillary Clinton sacrificing children, harnessing them for blood to keep themselves young. It is the elite drug of the Washington establishment and most Hollywood people. Here's an email from Hillary Clinton to Barack Obama. And in this, you can see kind of at the top, Huma Abedin is mentioned, Barack Obama, John Podesta, B. Affleck, and Nancy Pelosi. When we began the pizza arrangement, I thought we were going to be more careful than this. Operating from the White House is not what I originally had in mind. Remember that the hot dogs can come, but if we make a spectacle out of it, that will be our downfall. We all know the symbolism will be their downfall, and we all know that there is some kind of operation going on behind the scenes involving these politicians, where they're wearing masks, hyper realistic masks, and we have to assume that it all connects back to this Pizzagate scandal. And this is another to Huma Abedin. Huma, please bring the hammer and the toy I like to use to the Comet tonight. Also, if you have time, swing by the office and grab my inhaler. Nothing gets my heart going like sacrifice night. This is from Hillary Clinton when they are getting ready to do a human sacrifice in this Comet ping pong establishment, DC Pizza ping pong establishment. This connects to the Frazzled Drip video, which we've now found is frazzled.rip. So this is the purported file name of the snuff film found on the laptop of Anthony Weiner in the file named Life Insurance. It was said to make even the most hardened NYC police veterans cry. It's said to show Weiner's wife, Huma Abedin, and Hillary Clinton performing satanic ritual abuse on a young girl, surgically removing the young girl's face, wearing it as a mask to terrorize the girl, in which her blood is flooded with the adrenochrome. They then, I believe, took a drill and drilled a hole into this little child's head and drank the blood out of her head. Very disgusting stuff. I mean, these people are not human. These are lizard, Draco reptilian people that are performing these rituals to get high off of this life drug, which is adrenochrome. Allegedly, the footage goes to show both former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton and her former aide harvesting the adrenaline glands from the girl's body for the adrenochrome. And then she's laying on a tennis table afterwards, covered in the young girl's blood. Now, here is a supposed still shot of this in this frazzled drip video, you can see Hillary Clinton on the top left laying down. The girl's body has been censored out, and then you can see Huma Abedin on the right side of these surgical ping pong tables in the basement of the Comet ping pong facility. Inspector General report analysis that Hillary Clinton Foundation is being investigated for crimes against children, crimes against humanity. And now we know that this is folded into the Obama Foundation, the Biden Foundation, the Pelosi Foundation. All of these politicians have secret charity foundations they use to smuggle the money through in order to sell their adrenochrome and child sex trafficking and all the stuff these people are involved in. Here you see the missing people for a year. These are how many children go missing each year: 20,000 in Spain, 25,000 in Australia, 39,000 in France, 40,000 in Brazil, 45,000 in Mexico, 50,000 in Canada, 100,000 in Germany, 230,000 in United Kingdom, and over 800,000 children are missing each year in America alone. Where do you think these kids are going? They're never seen again. These aren't runaways. These people are never seen again. This also connects to the Epstein Island stuff, which will be in the part two of this video series. Term Pizzagate connects to several pizza parlors, which were secret hubs for sex trafficking and the delivery service of adrenochrome. Located in the basement of a DC restaurant known as Comet Ping Pong, many so called elite Democrats would pay for sex with children and then be hooked into this child sex trafficking network of Washington, D.C. This would lead to the slow uncovering of a massive operation of global child sex trafficking and blackmail. Pizzagate was discovered by WikiLeaks and the emails of Hillary Clinton and her pay to play scandal. This all connects to Hillary's email servers and all of the stuff that Hillary and the Democrats are involved in. This would involve the selling of government property and secrets. Clinton would be responsible for many of the U.S. based terror attacks and the Benghazi attacks. She is also rumored to be connected with the Oklahoma City bombing and the assassination of John F. Kennedy Jr., making her a lifelong player in the deep state cabal. Here's a drawing of how they harnessed adrenochrome from these children. This all connects to the Talmud, the Khazarian Jews, the Zionist Jews, and just Jews in general. They all cleanse themselves with the blood of these Christian children, and they drink this adrenochrome blood to become high in a euphoric manner. And then there's also life, young make properties that make you look younger, I guess. Expanding your thinking, child sacrifice never died. It all connects to the Aztecs, the Egyptians, anywhere where these Jewish people go, this child sacrifice, child sex trafficking, all this stuff goes right with them. It's not a coincidence. It's the same groups involved over and over again. From the recovered emails and the eventual laptops of Hillary Clinton and associates, the knowledge of Pizzagate would become more and more well known by the truth investigators or the conspiracy theorist community, which becomes larger and larger with every truth that is brought into the light. Disclosure of these events causes some to look into the rabbit hole of lies and deceptions while others turn away, seeking comfort in the lies and the world of entertainment. Hillary, while being connected to sex trafficking and the selling of government secrets, also participates in child snuff films, which were traded and sold into the Pizzagate network. Known as the Frazzle Drip, Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin ritually tortured the young girl to produce the adrenochrome. This all connects to what most of these Democrat politicians have been blackmailed by, and this is why they all push the same secret agendas behind closed doors. This video shows the passing around Washington, D.C. and the elites. 12 of the 14 people said to have seen this frazzle drip video ended up dead by suicide or they were possibly murdered. It was said to be one of the evilest videos circulating the dark web. And you can look on the Pizzagate wiki and hashtag Pizzagate and learn all kinds of stuff about this Pizzagate and these DC Democrats. Here's a chart for the pedophile codes. You can look through it very quick, how they communicate using these code words and food types to request certain types of sex services from these DC sex trafficking people. Pizzagate would lead to the disclosure of Epstein Island and the involvement of more high level Democrats and government officials. Secret documents recovered from those individuals in the sale of children as well as child pornography would indicate a secret language that, through a coded system, would reveal the depths and depravity of the disgusting behavior of all those involved. This would lead to a client list and those involved and the disclosure of activities which were practiced by the elites behind closed doors. As the Pizzagate was being disclosed to the general public, so were the hidden code words and the use to facilitate the procurement of children for sexual reasons and the sale of the adrenochrome facility. Here is a email from Barack Obama or somebody connected to Barack Obama in Chicago's Hot Dog Friday, where Obama spent $65,000 of taxpayer money flying in pizza and hot dogs for a Chicago private party at the White House. Not long to assume that the same people using the same channels were all connected to the same sort of darkness. Here's how this was discovered from the Anthony Weiner laptop, the Five Eyes intelligence services, the Ukraine servers CrowdStrike, the Bidens threats and bribes, all this connects to all the people that are in the public eye now. Ukraine is in the public eye. Israel is in the public eye. The Bidens are in the public eye. Epstein is still in the public eye. And everything connects to everything else when you understand what these people are into, what the religion behind these people are into connects to. And it's all satanic worship, and it all connects to Israel and Ukraine and the same players over and over again. Pedophile symbols and pedophile codes is a secret way for pedophiles and child abusers to communicate, as well as to exchange sex with children, child pornography, and other disgusting stuff. Within the Pizzagate emails were thousands of communications between members of Washington, D.C. establishment and the Clinton crime syndicate. The coded terminology would have been translated into types of children, age preferences, and sex acts to be performed. The coded language within the emails was decoded, as well as other code symbols and colored charts connecting to the handkerchief signals and the gay pedophile community uses to signal their preferences to each other. Here in one of these emails, they would love to get pizza for an hour. This is children they're renting as sex slaves. No one rents pizza for an hour. It's very disgusting stuff, and you really have to brace yourself for what you see when you start getting into this Pizzagate and adrenochrome and Epstein Island stuff. Now, it's rumored that the adrenochrome produced in the Wuhan facility was infected with a special variant of a mass released coronavirus variant. Those who took this tainted adrenochrome blood can be tested and through DNA proven in a court of law that they were taking this adrenochrome from this Wuhan land. And there's lots of evidence coming to light on that, which would mean a lot of these people in charge are getting removed from the scene and then replaced with actors wearing masks. And that's where this whole operation of QAnon and stuff comes into play. This could be all fake, but there is something going on with the masks of the people involved, the Bidens, the Clintons, the Obama, and all these people connecting to this Pizzagate conspiracy. Here's where you get the term walnut sauce from. You can see the walnut shell without the shell looks like a human brain, and this is where they harvest the adrenochrome from the adrenaline glands within the third eye of the brain. And this also can connect to the vril and the reptilian lizard people as they eat this as a food source. Torturing the children to produce the adrenaline in the blood, which changes the chemical compound from regular blood to the adrenalized blood, making the adrenochrome. Here's another picture that we have found with these little vials of this adrenochrome in this walnut connecting to the walnut sauce and the adrenochrome usage. This would begin the disclosure process, which would force many to the realization that things are not what they appear to be within our realm or world. When the behavior of those who govern the people is not what is seen in the public eye, and most politicians are connected or are members of secret clubs, secret societies, and they all have dual citizenship with Israel, the Great Awakening starts when the Pizzagate and the actions of many of these celebrities and so called elites are exposed. From the Pizzagate conspiracy to the emails, it was mentioned that there's a secret island that is used for sex trafficking and abused children. Now, we've now come to realize that there are multiple islands. There is up to 12 to 14 different islands used and owned by different celebrities. Joe Biden has an island. Puff Daddy, Oprah, The Rock, Johnny Depp, all these idols, false idols that have been worshipped in the public eye, all have connections to this adrenochrome and these sex trafficking islands. Um, we also have the flight logs of these Epstein people, so we know who went to the island, how many times they went to the island, and you could think one trip could be thought of as somebody not knowing what's going on there. But when many high-level people go dozens of times, Bill Clinton going 23 times, Bill Gates going 15, 16 times, we know it's not a coincidence. You're going for a specific reason. And many of these people who go to these islands all have connections to Israel. They all push for more aid in Ukraine, and the same system goes over and over again. Here you can see this chart of how all this connects to the Pizzagate and the Democratic operatives and neighboring businesses and the underground world of DC. If you're also aware of the underground mud flood theories and all that kind of stuff, we know that these cities in Washington D.C. go down several levels into deep underground military bases where these operations are performed and where this sex trafficking and adrenochrome harvesting all takes place. Here's the same human sacrificing for the blood to appease the feathered bird, serpent, lizard god people, but these practices have never ended. They always take place and they're always carried out by the same groups of people. The Canaanite, Moloch worshipping, Remphan worshipping, Satan Luciferian people who continuously perform these child sex acts and torture and blood drinking rituals, continuing the same practices that were conducted back when Satan fell into our realm and began all this disgusting stuff to subvert the population and slowly transform them into cattle. Cattle, product, whatever you want to call it, it's the same people pulling the same strings. Here's a small list of some of the people who went to Epstein's Island and flew multiple times. And they all happen to just be anti Trump people. They're all leaving the country if Trump's reelected. Well, the truth is they are leaving the country, but most likely they're going to Guantanamo Bay or they're going to be executed for crimes against humanity. Here's a picture of Obama where he bought his two kids, and you can see the island in the background. Here's Ellen's set, looks just like Epstein Island. Part two of this video series will be on Epstein Island and the real things that are going on this sex trafficking island. Here's another graphic showing how this is going to be very hard for the people to swallow. The important to progress, the puppet masters, the Saudi Arabia, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Soros people, Israel, how much public wealth just goes, how much money laundering is done, how many people are involved and have been blackmailed by these kind of things, like the Hunter Biden laptop, all the stuff you see him doing on that laptop. You can see all your politicians and celebrities partake in all the same things. Lindsey Graham and all these, they've all been blackmailed. And that's why you see such a horrific world that we live in today, because they have to slowly degrade civilization in order to control it and then eventually take it over with their New World Order.
But I warn you, if you make any further inquiries, or if you say a single word to anyone about what you have seen, there will be the most dire consequences for you and your family. Do you understand?